Do you need a real estate agent if you are buying a for sale by owner home? So of course, I'm going to give you my opinion, and I'm also going to give you a couple of real life scenarios that you may not have considered, okay? So you're out driving around and you go by this house and it's a for sale by owner. And you're like, wow, not on the MLS, or maybe you see it in Zillow, because Zillow does have an option where they put for sale by owners on there. And you're like, wow, I'm going to get this house. How do I handle it, right? Let me tell you what I would do if I were a consumer. And I've had this happen before, okay? We'll use the scenario from a couple of years ago. I was working with a buyer. It was a tough market. It was like 2020 time, around about there. And everything we looked at, by the time I would get home and get ready to write an offer, under contract, gone, multiple offers. This whole time. It was getting to be really, really frustrating. So one day he says, Sheila, I found this house. It's a for sale by owner. What do I do? I said, hold up. Give me the address. Let me look it up. Let me find out the story. Let me find out what it should cost, right? One reason you might see it for sale by owner is because, did you ever think that maybe nobody wanted to take the listing because the seller was unreasonable about the price? Or maybe the seller knows things about the house and they don't want to disclose that, and they know if they work with a real estate agent, they're going to have to disclose defects that they have knowledge of. So those are a couple of reasons to be nervous about a for sale by owner. Now, in this case, what I did was I called. I said, hey, I'm Sheila. I have a client that is interested in your property. What can you tell me about it? Will you be compensating a buyer's agent? All of that. He says, absolutely. I'll give you blah, blah %. We have another lady that's interested right now. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, here, this is the offer that we're thinking about giving you. I'll tell it to you verbally. If it sounds good to you, I'll put it in writing. We'll ink it and it'll be done. Boom. So I do all that. It's actually a very smooth negotiating thing. This seller was very, very reasonable. So it was easy to work with him. Had him sign the unrepresented seller agreement, which means I'm not representing you just because I'm a real estate agent involved in the transaction. This is telling you I'm helping the buyer, but I will facilitate things, because obviously he didn't have his own agent, so he didn't have a contract he was going to use, or, I think he was probably just planning to have a real estate agent involved in it anyway. Long story short, we get my client a full home inspection in an era where people were waiving home inspections. Not only did we get that, we asked for a bunch of things on the report, and we got them. And the seller even did all these things that we didn't even ask for, but nonetheless, it was approved. So that was a great scenario. I also think that we got a good price, and maybe he could have got more if he would have been listed with an agent in that type of market. He probably would have had multiple offers. But because there's a little bit of distrust on buying it for sale by owner, look at it this way. If you wanted to buy a piece of jewelry, and you could go in a jewelry store where that's probably marked up because they have salespeople involved and all of that kind of stuff, or would you trust buying the same piece of jewelry if I pulled my car up and I opened up my trunk and I said, hey, this is a blah, blah carat ring? Where is your trust factor? You're probably going to trust that jewelry store a little bit more. So, in summary, it does make sense to have a real estate agent involved in the transaction, because there are so many unknowns that can happen. And the thing is, even in the easiest transaction, there are still challenges. So you want to have somebody that's been through it, that knows what to expect. Everything is negotiable. And I love, personally, if I have a buyer and I do the buyer consultation, because you guys know I'm doing that first, if I do the buyer consultation and we talk about for sale by owners, we talk about off-market properties, we talk about expired listings, we talk about what if you go into new construction, all those kind of things. And I tell them, call me first and I will call the for sale by owner. This is an area I'm very comfortable taking care of. A lot of agents don't like to work with for sale by owners. I love them. I love them. Oh, and by the way, for sale by owners, about 95% of the time, if they're on the market for more than 4 weeks, they end up listing with an agent. And they always do have an agent in mind that they would use. So anyway, that's today's informative video.